a shovel in hand, she roams the universe, exploring every land, no map, no reverse. Oh, dig a 420, curious Canuck, answers on your mind, never getting stuck. Riding waves of stars through the cosmic sea, finding who we are in the galaxy. She's got questions to ask and a fire that won't die, unraveling each task under the sky. Oh, dig a 420, curious Canuck, answers on your mind, never getting stuck. Riding waves of stars through the cosmic sea, finding who we are in the galaxy. She's got questions to ask and a fire that won't die, unraveling each task under the sky. Oh, dig a 420, curious Canuck, answers on your mind, never getting stuck.
Because, you know. Hello. Hi, everyone. How you doing? It is Thursday morning already. This week kind of went by really fast. I'm not sure why. It's been kind of a painful one, and in the grand scheme of life as digger, my pain levels have been worse than normal, which usually means that each day drags and drags and drags. And yet it's Thursday, and I swear it was only Tuesday. I feel like I've been, yeah, I don't know. It feels like I've just started the week, and here we are almost done, which I guess is a good thing. Hi, Duct Tape. How you doing? Hey, John. How you doing? And Magic 8 Ball as well. How you doing? And Duct Tape's being sneaky. He's in both YouTube and Rumble. Rock on. So last week, sorry, I kind of had a hole in my lip there. Last week, we were able to do in the 2-hour time slot. We were able to get through both chapters that Steve had requested be done together as one. So it timed out perfectly. Worked out really well. I really did enjoy the breakdown of faith, I guess. And it was basically, I mean, I guess it's common sense if the world still ran on common sense, but it was really great breakdown of faith, and to be more knowledgeable of yourself and more honest with yourself. I mean, if you've got to lie to everyone else in the whole wide world, don't lie to yourself, because then you're really hooped. You've got to be honest with yourself. You've got to be honest about what your pros and your cons are, what needs to be improved upon, and a lot of that has to do with just being true. I guess that was it. Truth and faith. Truth and faith are the things that really stuck out to me. We need to be honest. People aren't honest anymore. It's so much easier to just smile and nod and whatever. We need to speak out when we see something wrong. I'll say it, and I might get in trouble with YouTube, but during COVID, I felt like I was the little boy in that old fairy tale, The Emperor's New Clothes. I was the only one in the entire crowd with the logic and common sense to see that he wasn't wearing new clothes. He was walking around naked. And I was the only one with the balls to yell out, dude's naked. He's not wearing any clothes. There are no new clothes. He's walking around naked. Um, Thankfully, I had, one or two other people in my life, and then you guys on here. So I wasn't alone screaming into the void. There was a lot of us that saw what was going on, and we're able to talk about it. So at least there was that. But a lot of people would rather just shut up and go on to get along than speak out when things are wrong, like morally, obviously, logically wrong. I'm hoping that the pendulum swinging back will allow us to get back to that point too, where we can, call a spade and, just be done with it. you know, um, I hate having to pretend that these men are women and be okay with them in the bathroom with me. That's not okay. It's not. It's just not. But anyways, that's me blathering. The main takeaways were faith. Have faith. If you don't have a specific God you subscribe to, I learned from a very early age that there is a higher power, or the term higher power, which just encompasses something that is bigger and more knowledgeable and in control, aware of what's going on. So it's not just this random the world is the life is meaningless and we just go through it for however long we get and then we die and it's over. There's more to it than that. In the way creatures, things are created, the atoms and the cells and there's something bigger that's in control. And I learned from an early age to call it a higher power. So even if you don't necessarily have a specific God or gods that you subscribe to, but you're aware that there's something more, try just communing with that higher power, just talk with it, right? You'd be amazed at just how much comfort and solace you can find if you're willing to have honest and earnest conversations with your higher power. And then sit and wait and listen for the response. So yeah, for all of you who don't actually have God or gods or anything, you might want to attempt that. Look at it as kind of just a meditation. Like a thought problem, or practice. Discussing with a higher power all the things that you don't understand, or you do but don't understand why. And be thankful as well. That's one thing I try and do, but usually fail at is remembering to thank God. I pray to him, but usually I'm 9 times out of 10 I'm asking for something, not necessarily for myself. I'm not that not that narcissistic, nor do I think that God would be listening if I was asking him for stuff for me all the time. But I'm praying for other people or events or what have you. But you've got to make a point to remember to thank that higher power for the good stuff too. Remember to reflect on the good things that happen in a day. and be thankful for that. So I was having this discussion with someone else. But basically, I found somehow, I don't know how it happened, and it'll happen differently for everyone. It just does. But I realized that I could focus on all the crappy things that are happening every day, all day long, or I could focus on the good things that happen throughout the day, all day long. And life is a lot easier when you stop focusing on the crap, you know? Damn it, this politician said this but did that, or I told the kids to do this and they forgot all about it. And the tiny little things that irk and annoy us all day, every day. We've kind of gotten used to focusing on all those things and letting them build and build and build and build. And once you realize that you don't have to focus on those, or more importantly, there are just as many little good things. Life gets a little bit easier. So yeah, not to say that I never have any bad days, that depression doesn't still hit me and is crushing, and it forces me to, run to my bed and stay in it for days. Those bad days still happen, but overall, just changing your perspective on what focusing on the good stuff. I've found it really does make a difference. It's really helped. But anyways, now that we have spoken about faith and honesty with yourself, as well as others, now we're going to focus on preparing for emergencies by straightening out your family. So I'll take a sip and away we go. Your close family is the first circle of security. Today, we are faced with the preeminent fact that if civilization is to survive, we must cultivate the science of human relationships, the ability of all peoples of all kins to live together and to work together in the same world at peace. That's a quote from Franklin D. Roosevelt. Your close family. Writing this chapter involved quite a bit of debate. The mother-father dynamic is essential to a child. But as we grow up, we seek out a partner to join and to become a we. Is the primary relationship then the parent-child relation or the marital relation? Ultimately, it depends on what part of life we're in. As a child, the parent dynamic is everything. As we mature, we hope to develop our familial relationship outside our parents' nest. This then evolves into children, where you become the parent and the cycle repeats. Consider the traditional family model. And why shouldn't you? It has served humanity for millennia. We should at least be articulate in our arguments against the norm before departing from it, and then only in the individual case. I would add that, consistent with the theme of this book, the ability to depart from the ideal is essential to individual freedom. But you need to be true to yourself about why the departure is being made. Be humble in your actions. The traditional ideal is a father and a mother who loves and teaches you and blesses you with freedom and individuality. Remember what we talked about earlier. The ideal is a judge on us all. Pardon me. Except that no parents are ideal. Human, flawed, parents fall from our projected pedestal of perfection as we enter consciousness. Sometimes our disappointment in them results in debilitating bitterness and hostility. This is a trap. Imagine a little boy trapped by his fatherhood trauma. As a young child, he was praised for being very clever. At this moment in his life, his father left the household. Where was the father to praise him when he performed? This dynamic fixed him at this tender and impressionable age. His whole life is now controlled by his inner desire to attain affirmation for his clever ideas. He is trapped in this unconscious cycle. Even as an adult, he is trapped in childhood issues. You may have a difficult childhood story. The issues in your past may be very complex. Sorry. Um, the issues in your past may be very complex and thus tricky to sort out. Here's a solution. Write down an overview of your life using a word processor. Begin with the title My Childhood. Next, write the title My Teenage Years and Young Adulthood. What's the title of the next chapter in your life? Write that down. Write a title that describes each major period of your life to date. Got it? Now go back to childhood and write down your earliest memory. Write down the most significant memory you have from your childhood. Do the same for the later chapters. Now fill in the details as precisely and completely as you can manage. Set it aside and think about what you left out. Put in all those stories that you feel compelled to repeat to others when explaining your trauma and adversity. Now, fill in all the difficult details that weigh you down. Add to it until you can say no more. Pretty soon, you have a little book of your life. Organize the story chronologically to the best you can remember. Once you complete your autobiography, you can now understand your present by looking at the path you have traveled to get here. Second, you can stop repeating yourself. No longer do you need to explain all your past problems to everyone around you. If they want to hear it, they can read your book. But it allows your conversation to change to a different subject. Third, you can put all those earlier traumas on the shelf. Those are things that happened to you, not who you are. That past can be set aside, and now you can choose to live your life going forward as a free person. Perhaps you desire to travel the world. No one's stopping you. Maybe you'd like to change careers and live in a big city. Go ahead. Packaging your troubled past into a book clears the way from yesterday's baggage. Perhaps you want to make a family of your own. Well, this can be the task of our lifetime. Let's talk a bit about children. Many couples cannot have a baby who would love to care for a child. Some children desperately need a loving parenting force in their lives. Both the couple and the child are in less than ideal circumstances. It would be better for the child to have wonderful and loving natural parents, but that is not the flawed reality. It would be better for the couple to have their own healthy baby, but that is not the flawed reality. But bringing the abandoned child and the yearning couple together through adoption heals them both. Consider whether it would be better for an infant to be raised by a neglectful, crack addict father and his abused wife, or by, by that wife as a single parent. Would it be better for a child to have two gay parents who love and provide for that child, or be left in an orphanage? These kinds of judgments involve internal ideals we project onto each other. One situation may be objectively better, but determining which one involves subjective trade-offs and complexities. Global judgments should be considered, but also weighed against individual situations. And sometimes, choosing the good is problematic in and of itself. Sorry, I got stuck on that All right. Sorry, I'm going to reread that because it caught my mind, and now I'm. These kinds of judgments involve internal ideals we project onto each other. One situation may be objectively better, but determining which one involves subjective trade offs and complexities. Global judgments should be considered, but also weighed against individual situations. Sometimes, choosing the good is problematic in and of itself. Work hard to examine how your parental relationships have impacted you and move beyond them so you can be free. In the Grail myth, Percival first attempts to enter the Grail castle wearing his father's armor protection and his mother's woven tunic, but fails. Only when he is naked, without his armor and tunic, can he enter the Grail castle. This is symbolic of this need to transcend our childhood. By stating the ideal, we can strive to become our children's best father or mother. My mom always would say, no life is wasted. They can always serve as a bad example. It is through my painful interactions with my father and my honest reflections on that abuse that I was able to become a better father. Not going to do that, I'd say to myself. Become more than your upbringing. Individual freedom implies that power is within us all. Seize that opportunity. Prioritize staying connected with your close family. You and your family have a different dynamic than you and your friends. As we discussed earlier, a friend is someone you have a mutual admiration for and where you want the best for each other. Close family is different. For example, the parent of a child has a responsibility to give the child direction. Many parents make the big mistake of trying to be a friend to their child. That is nice, but not necessary. A child needs love, support, and structure. You tell a child you love them by establishing and enforcing clear rules. Loving a child means explaining right from wrong. Loving a child means sharing your experience and guiding them. Friends can be many and can change over time throughout life. There is only one dad and one mom. This is the gift a parent gives to a child. Now, I know that sometimes it's impossible to maintain a healthy relationship with certain family members. Ultimately, it takes two to tango. If you have family members who do not want anything to do with you, there's not much you can do about it. Also, avoid family members who are actively seeking to cause you problems. Whether through abuse or gossip, they should not be part of this equation. My father would hurt me every time I was around him. As I grew older, I learned to forgive him and develop what I labeled immediate forgiveness. The problem was that I continually encountered him only to get hurt again. Every retreat from my father required endless forgiveness, and I was not always up to the task. Near the end of his life, communication had broken down again, and my wife and I were in Tallahassee where he lived. My wife encouraged me to reach out. We were newlyweds, and she did not wholly understand my reluctance as a great father had raised her. I chose to avoid him. Soon after, we discussed my decision not to see him over dinner with my friend Roger. Roger is one of the greatest fathers I know. When we explained our dispute, Roger said, "What, and get hurt again? Hell no." Protect yourself from family members who continually hurt you. Many Christians remember the statement from Exodus 20:12. Honor your father and your mother, that your days may be long in the land which the Lord your God gives you. In Ephesians 6, verse 1, this is echoed. Children, obey your parents in the Lord, for this is right. The Catechism of Catholic Church 2217 explains, As long as a child lives at home with his parents, the child should obey his parents in all that they ask him when it is for his good or that of the family. But if a child is convinced in conscience that it would be morally wrong to obey a particular order, he must not do so. Obedience towards parents ceases with the emancipation of the children. Not so respect, which is always owed to them. Recently, I spoke with Brian Kenyon about this topic and my struggles with my father, and he added this valuable caveat. Suppose parental honoring is just impossible because of the continual abuse or terror visited upon you by a parent. In that case, you can honor them by living a fulfilling life honoring God, even if you cannot have a positive relationship with that parent. Show honor by being better as a person and overcoming those childhood issues. That being said, try your best to contact your family. Those closest to you, your immediate family, should be a top priority in your relationship maintenance. Regularly checking in with family members, especially those who live far away or are elderly, can help ensure everyone feels safe and connected. Dr. Peck, whom you heard from earlier, even advises that people with strong family bonds live longer. Don't doubt science. Husband and wife. Let's discuss the importance of the husband and wife relationship. Proper spouse selection is crucial for long-term happiness. A family is a primary reason for your existence. In an ideal world, we is a better state than I. Work to maintain a healthy wife-husband balance. Let go of the little things. Picking up socks is a little thing. Putting the toilet seat down is a little thing, says a man. As the woman, it would be nice if you could just pick up your socks and put them away where they're supposed to go, as opposed to leaving them wherever you decide to take them off. Also, as a woman, going pee in the middle of the night and finding that there's no seat is one of the least pleasant ways to have to wake up and leave that warm bed you can think of. A full-on dunking of your butt and your hoo-ha in cold toilet bowl water in the middle of the night when all you needed to do was go pee really quick. That sucks. That sucks. So as a woman, picking up your socks and putting down the toilet seat are a little bit more important than just, a little thing. In my own life, when I see the drawers of the furniture not quite closed, I smile and gently close the drawer fully. It annoys me, not her, so it's my problem. This is one endearing fault of my spouse that I can live with. I'm sure there are things that I do that annoy her. Okay, I just asked. She gets annoyed when we're out to eat, and I ask for the check when she is still enjoying the dining experience. Oh, and I am messy, or at least messier than her. Hi, Brian. How you doing? But are the imperfections of your chosen spouse ones that you can live with or not? If your spouse never picked up another sock and you had to do it, would that be the end of your relationship? No, not necessarily. Well, I guess it depends, right? The problem is that many people build up resentments over time. They pick up the sock and whisper a silent curse to their spouse. Over time, these curses become verbal. That turns into nagging, and the whole dam of built-up resentment soon spills out in a destructive torrent. Stop it now. Another point here. Generosity is a great virtue, but you should be the most generous to those closest to you. Here's another good lesson from Dr. Peterson for men. Women look admirably at men who are generous with their time and money, as it shows selflessness and commitment to something greater than the self. However, a man can take this too far. Once in a family, that same quality should be harnessed for the support of the family. Throwing money at strangers is a negative and shows irresponsibility. It's a delicate balance, but one that a man should understand and appreciate. I think the women have a point here. We talked earlier about the ideal. Contemplate what the ideal spouse would look like and what the ideal parent would be. Strive to become that person. What higher use of your life can you think of? This is the point of individual freedom, to choose the good. As we have discussed, this is a challenging proposition. The world is complex and we are flawed. We will never achieve utopia here on earth. But by being fully conscious and truthful and in control, we can move the arc of life towards the good. In our society, we have become strangers to each other. God created man for woman and woman for man. He wants us to join as a we. We naturally complement each other. Together, a spouse should make you better and they you. The whole should be greater than the sum. The whole should be greater than the sum of its parts. My friend Joe, Good Logic, provided me with this interesting insight into the meaning of wife within the Old Testament. He notes that from the time of creation, relationships between spouses have, at times, been adversarial. Hi, Dazzler Love, how you doing? In Genesis 2, verse 18, God calls woman an ezer kenegdo, a helper against him. Okay. A helper against him. I think this is a beautiful bit of wisdom. A wife is a warrior who complements the man in a marriage. If a man is worthy, she will be a help to him. If he is not worthy, she will be against him and cause strife. This is because her role is to push for growth and nurture the relationship as they move together through time as companions. A good wife provides her light to show the way forward for the couple and to speak up when they are on the wrong path. The woman's lamp is in her hand. Any attempt by a man to wrest control of this womanly implement is foolhardy, for she maintains this essential function in the marriage. Speaking on the other side of this equation for a moment, many modern women trap themselves into loneliness. Competitor female groupthink pressures and rewards. Competitive female groupthink pressures and rewards divorce laws. Oh, and rewarding. Okay. Sorry. I'm having trouble with that sentence. Competitor female groupthink pressures and rewarding divorce laws tell a woman, you can do better, leave him. Look to the wisdom above. There are two parts. One, a helper, and two, against him. A man is expected to improve himself over time, and a healthy marriage is a boon to his kingdom building quest. In the marriage, the energy for growth that flows from the feminine must be channeled into growing the relationship and making the couple better as a we. Many men will kick and scream at growth, but a mature man will accept and celebrate this part of his spouse. The sorting of men in a woman's youth must end with selection and total commitment. In probably my favorite Ginger song, I Speak Astronomy, Tatiana sings, after 28 light years, my research must be ended somehow. This song's great lyric informs us of the impenetrable nature of the feminine psyche, wherein she struggles with the universe of choices she is presented with as a young woman. All of this must be done while she still comes to terms with who she is and how she fits into the world. Let's get general for a minute. Men and women are different and bring different things to the relationship table. Even from the earliest book of Genesis, there is a biblical Christian call for a man and a woman to join. Compare the following passages from the Bible. 2 Samuel contains the following passage. As the ark of the Lord was entering the city of David, Michal, daughter of Saul, looked down from her window, and when she saw King David jumping and dancing before the Lord, she despised him in her heart. Saul's daughter Michal was childless to the day she died. Now compare that with this passage from Luke. Mary said, "Behold, I am the handmaid of the Lord. May it be done to me according to your word." Then the angel departed from her. And how does this happen to me, that the mother of my Lord should come to me? Blessed are you who believed that what was spoken to you by the Lord would be fulfilled. I am no biblical scholar, but to me, this is God blessing the humility of motherhood. In the first passage, the ark of the Lord was revered as it entered the city. The woman who scorned the ark was left childless. The ark, or Mary, is revered and blessed in the second passage. Go back and reread it if you missed it. Here's another beautiful Bible passage from Genesis that goes to the blessings of man and woman. God created mankind in his image. In the image of God, he created them. Male and female, he created them. God blessed them, and God said to them, "Be fertile and multiply." Now compare that with this passage from Matthew chapter 19, verses 4 through 6. Have you not read that from the beginning the Creator made them male and female? For this reason, a man shall leave his father and mother and be joined to his wife, and the two shall become one flesh. So they are no longer two, but one flesh. Therefore, what God has joined together, no human being must separate. This wisdom passed down through thousands of years should not be lightly discarded into a faddish trip of conceit and self-indulgence. Truth springs from within, within these passages. Women and men are physically different. Forget all the exterior surface level visuals. We are physically different at the cellular level. Women have XX chromosomes and men have XY chromosomes. If a dead body is found, or even a severed finger, a genetic test of the DNA in the remaining tissue can determine sex. Only women can give birth to babies. Women naturally live longer than men. Men have greater upper body strength generally. And of course, we don't need to go into anatomy. You can comment on Nick Rekieta's chat for that. Women and men have different personality predilections. Jordan Peterson describes this better than I do. But generally speaking, men are more disagreeable and less fear-driven, while women are the opposite. This is statistically true, according to Peterson, in that if you guessed who was more disagreeable based strictly on sex, you would be right approximately 60% of the time. While this is not huge, it's statistically significant. It also means that at the ends of the bell curve, all the most disagreeable people are men, and all the most fear-driven people are women. Also, generally, men are more interested in objects, while women are more interested in people. I was stunned when I realized that this means that women are interested in people like I'm interested in a beautiful American made sunburst guitar. Men are instinctually protective of women, and women are generally more nurturing to infants than men. This is biological. Now, I could recite all the natural qualifiers here, but I won't because I don't need your vote. What I am saying is true in the general, but there are exceptions in the specific. Put your family ahead of yourself. There are popular sayings that float through the culture that are entirely wrong-headed. One of those sayings is that we should strive for a 50-50 relationship with our spouse. Nonsense. The marital relation should be 100%. 100%. Both partners should give everything they have to their families. Are you only 50% committed to your spouse? Are you only 50% committed to your children? Are you only 50% committed to your faith? Christian rules liberate rather than oppress. Contemplate our driving laws. Riding a bike the wrong way on a highway would not result in a successful journey. The rules of the road allow for enjoyable and safe bike rides. Similarly, the rules Christ provides for us allow for a successful journey through our lives. In Matthew 11, pardon me, verses 28 through 30, Jesus said, "Come to me, all you who labor and are burdened, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you and learn from me, for I am meek and humble of heart, and you will find rest for yourselves. For my yoke is easy and my burden light." I read this to mean that following a righteous path requires your whole being, but your life will be better if you do so. Surrender your ego to something greater and live for the higher ideals, the higher power. The moral imperative of spending your time wisely. The first small step. Getting rid of cable TV and brainless mass entertainment. And immediately after that, we have an excerpt from the movie from the Merlin movie. I can't remember what the title is now. It's my brain. Either which way, Merlin says, "Stand back, be silent, be still." That's it. Holding his flaming staff and look upon this moment. Savor it. Rejoice with great gladness. Great gladness. Remember it always, for you are joined by it. You are one under the stars. Remember it well then, this night and this great victory, so that in the years ahead you can say, "I was there that night with Arthur the king." For it is the doom of men that they forget. For each of us, the revelation is different. For many, September 11th woke us up to the threats to our civilization. For others, it was the economic crash that caused us to discover that our house was worth half of what we paid for it, or that our retirement account was destroyed. When that day comes, you realize that your time on this earth should be spent wisely. If you follow the external media, you know that our precious time is filled with frivolity and trivia, and that our country daydreams into decline and bankruptcy. Not just America, I think Western civilization as a whole. The advent of a trivia society. What are the great trends in our world today? In science, how many of us have heard of the 2005 Huygens probe? We have actual pictures from the surface of Titan, a moon of Saturn. Yet a YouTube page lists only a few thousand views of this incredible scientific achievement. Taylor Swift's latest video, meanwhile, has millions of views. Our citizens, the guardians of the American Tree of Liberty, are today wallowing in the bread and circuses of the mass media. Our country was founded at the height of the Enlightenment by men versed in the traditions of the West. The United States Constitution, the pinnacle of achievement of the governance of man, was earnestly debated at the founding by a society versed in the language of history. Yet today, history is being sidelined and politicized in favor of gender and ethnic studies departments are being politicized in favor of gender and ethics studies departments and similar political indoctrinations. Our most richly endowed colleges are being systematically targeted for takeover by radicals, shouting down competing ideas in places where the marketplace of ideas is supposed to be the freest. The material wealth of Western society has created a luxury of mass delusion. Many of us, whom I could call the non-consenters, might suggest that we confront the modern sins that have exposed problems in the founding document by amending that marvelous instrument. Perhaps patriots would propose a constitutional amendment constraining voting to those who do not benefit from government largesse. Maybe there's a way to amend the Commerce Clause since it has been expanded so that the federal government can regulate everything. Hi, Steve. How you doing? I would love to see a spirited debate on improvements that would move us towards a society of greater liberty, building on the Founding Fathers' great work. But today, could we even have an educated debate on amending or replacing the Constitution, given the ignorance towards history and the nature of man? Oh. I'm afraid that our current society is incapable of engaging in such a discourse. If, for example, our states called a constitutional convention to amend or replace our current document, most likely what would follow would be a step backward toward greater tyranny. Given the state of education at our elite schools, mass media, and our political leadership, the populace would hardly be aware of the defeat of liberty. That's what's happened here in Canada. It's been such a slow crawl into the tyranny. Most Canadians have no idea that we're actually socialist at best. They don't realize that what we call liberal and conservative are both on the liberal side of the middle mark. Our conservative is liberal. Our conservative party is very liberal. Even the PPC, the People's Party of Canada, is by the metrics that were laid out in history books from when I was learning it. I was born in 79, so 46 years old. When I learned about it, there was a metric and they had the lines, and this is left, right, and middle, right? But now, if you look at what they call left, right, and middle, they would all be far right. Well, you guys are it would be very, very liberal, very, very liberal. It's the most conservative party is still more liberal than middle now. It's scary. Maybe there's a way to amend the Commerce Clause since it's been expanded so that the federal government can regulate everything. Oh, sorry. There we go. One small step for man. Ultimately, We have an individual choice into what we fill our minds with. You can choose your own path. While we are powerless to affect these larger events individually, we still have the freedom of our individual choices. One small step you can take is to conserve your money so that it does not support the decline. A simple step my family has taken, and I would encourage you to take, is to cut the cable television and mass media from your budget. All those propaganda cable channels are supported by their bundling into cable package. Movies target our children and our families with their insidious propaganda insertions. When organizations turn against me, my family, and everything we believe in, I can no longer give consent in good conscience. By participating in their schemes, we are funding the machinery of delusion. Not wrong. There's more than enough stuff free online. You don't need to be paying all these subscriptions and stuff. That being said, I do appreciate it very much when friends share a movie or something with me from a subscription because I don't have it. Hello, MSO. How you doing? That being said, I stopped paying for anything like that well over a decade ago just because I couldn't afford it anymore. But again, I realized I was spending so much time watching make-believe stories, movies and TV shows and stuff. I had stopped learning anything. And because I was no longer able to read and retain stuff like I used to, I wasn't learning anything via the books anymore either. So I started using the internet instead of watching, Netflix or whatever. I started learning stuff, deciding whatever kind of piqued my interest, whatever I was curious about, and I just go and explore and deep dive into it. And just that alone, just using my brain to search out and learn new things, I felt better. I really felt better in my own, even in my physical self. I felt a lot better learning instead of just sitting zombified watching, you know, the TV go by all day. I was still well, I still am sitting in front of a ginormous screen, but I'm not watching made up stories all the time anymore. I do stuff like this. I learn and I read with you guys and I talk with you guys and I'm socializing and learning about other topics. I feel a lot more alive and not so dull in the head anymore, there's things I want to do and look into and people I need to get in contact with and I'm not just sleepwalking through life, I guess is the thing. It was really sleepwalking through life. And once I started researching stuff and just looking into things that I was interested in, I stopped sleepwalking. So it was really good. Maybe that's when I awoke from being one of the sheeple. But I really did feel like I had woken up from just this dreary, long, drawn out day that was my life. MSO says, I thought you'd be reading from the Bible in celebration of the new Pope. I'm not Catholic. I really know nothing about the new Pope, or, not much about the old Pope either, except the tinfoil hat. I got to start doing that. My tinfoil hat conspiracies about the first Jesuit Pope. There were some theories there. Although a lot of my research on that disappeared about halfway into his papal reign, I guess, which was interesting. I was trying to share the information with a friend and all of my links were broken. It was all gone, or errored or whatever. Meet the new pope, same as the old pope. Yeah, well, he's the first American one, so, take that for whatever you want it to mean, right? um, some people think that that's just another sign that we're coming into the end days, the final days. I think we're in the end times. I don't think we're in the end days yet, you know. But yeah, we are reading. There are the occasional Bible excerpt in this book when necessary, but no, I'm just going to stick to preparing ourselves. Next up, a Canadian Pope. Yeah, no, I don't think so. Um, I don't know. I couldn't even. I can't think of any. Well, I guess you know what it is. It's the Canada's become so whitewashed. There really isn't any individual um, Canadian things anymore. Like nowadays, you know about people's preferred pronouns, uh, but you have most people, if they're religious at all, they don't speak about it. It's definitely not a part of their personality. I have no idea who would be considered a Catholic um, or even an important Christian in Canada. You know what I mean? Um, it's very, very whitewashed. So I don't think we've got anyone important enough to be a pope. Besides which, this new pope, he looks relatively, like in the scheme of things, he looks relatively young. He should be able to go for at least as long as this last one did. Okay. One thing that brought me to this revelation was my new role as a parent. Watching gooey marshmallow TV for yourself is one thing, but when I saw my 8-year-old son beginning to obsess about the latest trivial television shows, I realized I was setting a bad example. It's you. Therefore, I rid myself and our family of cable TV and mass media. Our family implemented a policy of not paying for television entertainment and mass media. For better or worse, we accept that internet access is necessary in today's business environment. Cable TV can cost well over $100 a month in access fees. We decided to leverage our internet access to save on these fees. That's what I did too. Chose to stick with my internet as opposed to paying for TV. If a movie comes with a price tag, we do not consent. There are many other benefits to pulling the plug on television and mass media. Television news is an incredibly inefficient form of communication. A person can read many times faster than listening to spoken word. Does the addition of Matt Lauer or Anderson Cooper add anything to news substance? No. I would suggest that the media's cult of personality, in fact, detracts from real content. Further, the mass media is sensationalist and focuses only on news items with a flashy picture or newsreel. It may be that this aspect of television news encourages spectacular terrorist attacks. The more spectacular the attack, the more likely that a terrorist will get free publicity, right? I know, Steve, this guy is making all sorts of good points. As a side note, for much of my adult life, I was a news junkie. After the September 11th attacks, I noticed I was getting high amounts of anxiety, even to the point of affecting my sleep. It's you. I went to my family doctor, who put it to me this way: he could give me a sedative, or I could stop watching the news. The constant replaying of the planes hitting the towers was creating a constant state of danger in my psyche, resulting in high stress. Taking his advice, I turned off the media inputs, and magically, my stress levels were reduced. The fact is that less sensationalist media equals lower stress levels. I now limit my news intake to free internet only and only those sites that avoid sensationalism. I do it a little bit differently. I grab from the extremes on both sides and then from the middle of both sides. And from those, I reason out what I believe is most likely to be the true actual thing that happened. I'm not, they're not sponsoring me or anything, but Ground News, just their free part of the Ground News app is lovely. It's a great way of getting not just local or national news, but you can get international news. They aggregate it. They tell you which sides are paying more attention to it. They'll give you links to sides, both sides of the stories. Makes it a lot easier to decide for yourself, it makes it a lot easier to get the information you need to then be able to decide for yourself what you believe to be true. Choose your sources of information. Make sure you examine the source for authority and accuracy. I generally avoid institutional news. During the Second Gulf War, Baghdad Bob would claim that no Americans were anywhere near the city. On the split screen could be seen an American Abrams tank crushing a Saddam statue in the city center. In the area of mostly peaceful protests and Let's Go Brandon, are our media organizations much better? Right? The legacy media institutions are dominated by politically correct spin and other unknown motivations. Who is speaking to you when NBC anchor reads the latest update? Avoid them. Might I suggest that most legacy newspapers care little for the truth, instead hijacking the important truth-telling function instead hijacking the important truth-telling function to instead provide sensationalist clickbait for news consumers. The preconceived narrative trumps truth. Avoid these propaganda ministers. Yeah, if it's Canadian news of any kind, it's state-owned, state-run. So, and it's very interesting looking at news things. There's been many times now when I am looking for something and cannot find it, and I've asked an American friend to look for something on that same thing, and they're able to find stuff right away. But my Canadian cleaned, washed internet won't find it for me, even though it's something that an event that I know happened. I won't be able to find anything, and I'll get an American friend to go search, and they'll find a whole bunch of stuff right away. So it's very. I've got an interesting perspective that a lot of Canadians don't have. I have the time to spend online looking at the different news things, and I have American friends who can look up things if I can't find them. And it turns out 9 times out of 10 these days, it's just because it's been whitewashed out of my internet, my Canadian censored internet. It's wild. While the institutional media is dominated by the left, the right also has this problem. In a case I was intimately familiar with, the most innocent person I have ever defended, Virgilio Aguilar Mendez, was accused of murder. Look up the 2023 case if you're not familiar with it. Sadly, many right-leaning websites jumped to conclusions because it fit their narrative of immigrants committing crimes. The lesson here: put truth first and fight against preconceptions driving your worldview. Look for individuals with a record of checking and correcting their work. For example, Megan Fox of Megan Fox Investigates works hard to get it right. She is a happily married Catholic mother who pursues the truth with PJ Media. She also did that nifty promo quote on the back cover. Yes, she did. Some of my other favorite news sources are the great Glenn Reynolds blog, instapundit.com, and powerlineblog.com. As a devoted Christian, my morning reading also includes visiting usccb.org Bible, where I read daily biblical passage. So, what do you do with that big 52-inch electronic investment that now dominates your living room? If you must keep it, you can provide content with a one-time purchase of a Roku box, a cheap device that connects your television set to the internet connection, providing tons of free content. There are loads of free videos, including those for education and travel. I understand that some media giants have politically disagreeable orientations, but perhaps a gradual step down is in order. If you can cold turkey the process, then do it. Another option is that with many people accessing pay-per-view, you can buy many cheap entertainment DVDs at garage sales, yeah? The main thing is to avoid spending your precious money on trivial entertainment. Sometimes the broader culture intrudes. For example, my son once asked to watch a new Marvel movie. Unfortunately, it came with a $14 pay-per-view price tag. We reminded our son of our family policy of not paying for mass media entertainment. We discussed whether he wished to have his allowance pay for this movie or whether he wanted to watch a different Marvel movie for free. This approach had the added benefit of bringing our young child into the process of controlling his viewing habits. Well, and just critical thinking. Brian, Digger, Johnny is opening up a new business, Johnny's Concrete Ramped Retail and Warehouse. That's great. Another business? Okay, no, you're not supposed to be on the table. I don't care. We're not going to do that anymore. I'm putting my foot down. Right? Thankfully, he chose the free movie. Interestingly, he has become very responsible with his purchasing choices since being empowered with his own money. I thought he'd miss the television much more than he did. It was Daddy that suffered the withdrawals. While my favorite television shows used to be live sports like NFL football and NASCAR, I decided that for $100 a month, I could live without these indulgences. I must admit that after our exodus from the mass media, our one guilty pleasure was the television show Survivor. Luckily, most of the older seasons of the show could be watched without cost. Yep. Soon that went away, and I did not miss it. When giving up mass media, I found that I could let the audio of sports events play on my computer while I worked. Oh, okay. Yeah, I read that wrong. I found that I could let the audio of sports events play on my computer while I worked on my new leather working hobby. Soon I discovered that I wasn't interested in the first place and that these things too fell into the trivia category. Remember that when the goal is entertainment, avoid spending money, especially monthly fees. And choosing your inputs. Once the haze of the mass media fades, what do you do with your time? This may sound like a ridiculous question, but you are now master of your destiny. You can either make your own conscious choices, or you can let other people and powers determine how that time is filled. How about challenging your mind by playing an instrument? You could learn a new hobby and go outside. Read the great books of Western civilization. Whatever your selection, examine your expenditure of time and make the choices you determine are worthwhile. I appreciate you, MSO. I see you over there. Rumble's a good place to be. So, yeah, go read the great books of Western civilization. Whatever your selection, examine your expenditure of time and make the choices you determine are worthwhile. Another reason why I'm doing this, I have a hard time retaining information if I read it. I tend to retain it better if I read it out loud. Uh, Rather than sitting and reading out loud to myself like a dunce, I can read out loud online to you guys, and it's not I'm not, an idiot who can't retain stuff. I'm just someone who's sharing information with other people. It's a much better connotation of things. um, but that was the same with me. I was saying, more than a decade ago, I guess, because it would have been what about 2012, um, 2013 when I stopped paying for any TV or cable or anything like that. The only thing I paid for was is the internet, and it's been nearly 5 years since I stopped being able to use my mom's Netflix account. So I discover other things, free things. I love Tubi, Tubi. Tubi's got a whole lot of great older TV and movies. It's all free. They've got ads, but they're little short ads. I mean, I grew up in the 80s and 90s when ads were a thing that you could not walk away or skip through. You could walk away from. That's when you went to the bathroom or refilled your cup or something, was during the commercials, right? So I don't know why everyone's got so much issue with 15-second commercials, but I get it. I get really annoyed when I keep getting ads, especially getting ads during a live stream. That annoys me to no end. Ads during a live stream, you miss stuff, and you can't. As soon as you miss, you can't. Yeah, that's a little bugs the heck out of me thing. But that being said, like with Tubi, they'll play. I think it's less than a minute in ads. Maybe twice in an hour-long TV show. So really it's not a big hardship. Again, back in the day, that's when we would go and get, a refill of our drink or go pee or go have a smoke or whatever you did, right? Speaking of, I'm still on the Foom. It's a new day, so I can scratch that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 full days without cigarettes. And I'm still getting cravings to want to go have a smoke from time to time. But yes, 6 full days. So this is day 7 because I scratched them out this following morning. So woohoo! I find I still have cravings. But more than anything, I've got time. I've got time that I didn't have before that I've got to fill now. So, but yeah, this is my check-in. Foom rocks. This Foom has got me. I am on day 7 now of no nicotine, no cigarettes. I am smoking the maple pepper. So it's like a maple and black pepper flavor. It's really good. Really good. And yeah, when I feel I still get the occasional, God, it's time to go and have a cigarette. When it gets really bad, I take the Foom outside. So I'm literally going outside for a smoke, only instead of smoke, I'm sucking on the Foom. So I'm still doing all the rest of the habit. I'm just sucking on this instead of a cigarette. So woo-woo! I love my Foom. This is awesome. Thank you guys. On that note. So I wish to become more well-read in certain areas of constitutional law and history. I therefore devoted myself to making a list of the great books that had somehow been overlooked in my public education. People who see me on YouTube and Rumble may not know it, but one of my primary interests is American military history, especially World War II. Most of my library is made up of books covering this enormous subject. Winston Churchill presides at the top of heroic figures during that time. I set out to read his major works. Methodically, I read through The River War, The World Crisis, Marlborough, His Life and Times, and the Second World War. What do you want to know? Where are the gaps in your life? Fill your mind with great ideas. Thank you. The Curious Canuck. That's what I do. That's how I proved. I mean, I already knew there was a higher power, so I wasn't proving the existence of God to myself, but it was my interest in history and architecture and or not art well kind of, yeah, history and archaeology rather, and ancient artifacts that I ended up proving that to myself that God or that Jesus did walk the earth. And the King David's line did not end, that it did continue on. I kept proving these things and finding more and more things that were proving out claims that the Bible made. So then I decided, well, crap, I better read the Bible. And went from there. And I've been reading the Bible faithfully. Not always as good as I should. I'm waving to Johnny. Am I what? But yeah, I'm not perfect, but I read from the Bible every night before I close my eyes. I attend church on the Sabbath day. So sundown Friday to sundown Saturday is what was deemed to be the Sabbath day by God. The Catholic Church, even in their own writings, I'm not saying anything that isn't in their own writings and works. Hi, Lexi. The Catholic Church chose to change the Sabbath day from Saturday to Sunday. Nowhere ever has God said that his Sabbath day, the seventh day, that he set aside during the creation week. The fourth commandment starts with the word remember the Sabbath to keep it holy. God's Sabbath was the seventh day, which was Saturday. So sundown Friday to sundown Saturday. So that's when I attend church. That being said, I'm sure there will be tons of people in heaven who went to church on Sunday. If they don't understand the Sabbath truth, it's not going to be held against them. Right? That's kind of how God works. He's not going to judge one who's unaware of a law near as harshly as he judges someone who is aware of the law and breaks it. So either which way, that's what I did. I had no mass media. I had no entertainment to just zombie through my life with. I started studying history and stuff and proved Jesus and proved the Bible. And Saffron is out. Wild is probably over in Johnny's chat, more likely than not. That's one of the things is my reading stream has always been at the start of his daily streams. So she's probably over there. Lexi's saying, I'm grateful for his mercies. Right? So yeah, I mean, yeah, he's not gonna not take you into heaven if you attended church on the wrong day, if you didn't understand that it was the wrong day. He's not gonna kick you out of church if you if you didn't worship him. Yeah, no, I'm not going to even go into that. He's a very forgiving God. He is not going to hold you accountable for breaking a law that you did not know existed. Right? So, my wife devoted herself to studying math. First, to better her career prospects, and second, to help my young son as he wrestled with increasingly complex math subjects. We have found the free web-based Khan Academy to be a great helper and teacher for math and science subjects, not so much for history. You may study other practical topics such as blacksmithing, welding, home and auto repair, electrical wiring and generation, leatherworking, carpentry, gunsmithing, gardening, water purification. The list is endless. Wouldn't it be so much better to devote your precious time to knowledge that will protect you and your family? Yep. Oh, he did he? Johnny said, I'm welcome to come and join him at any time. Will do. Soon as this reading one's done. The internet is an endless supply of books available for free with a modest amount of effort. With the video revolution, used hardback books are ubiquitous and cheap. Yes, again, hard copies of information. Very, very important. At some point, all of this will disappear. If not all the electricity, say EMP or like we've seen recently in Spain, just no power at all. There will come a time when there may be power, but there won't be internet. We won't be able to go and search YouTube for a video to teach us how to do something. We're going to need to be able to access that information in a hard copy version. And I'd suggest owning some of those. I've got some really great books on Lexi saying I've been hearing that since Y2K. Well, I'm just I have two, yes. But yeah, I at this point I think it's true. I just think about it from a video game perspective, okay? Video games, you used to have to go and buy the hard copy of the video game and bring it home and install it on the computer, and then you could play it. Now you have like a Steam account or something, and you buy the video game, but you just download it to your Steam account. You don't have a physical hard copy of that game. If the internet goes out for whatever reason and you lose internet for a day, you can't play all those games you purchased because you need the internet to access them. Whereas if you'd been able to buy the hard copy of said video game, the internet could go down and you could still put it in and play it, right? Or have it downloaded to your computer, specifically to your computer to play it, as opposed to an account, like a Steam account. People don't own anything these days, and they don't realize just how big a problem that's going to be until it becomes the problem, at which point it'll be too late. But I've got some good hardcover, thick books on basic home improvement or DIY home repair stuff. I've got a really good one on gardening specific to the climates that I live in. I've got what else do I have? I've got a plumbing one, I think, or yeah, I've got a few. I think I've got a plumbing one. I know I've got a first aid one, and then a more in-depth medical one. But it's all on my bookshelf there. So even if EMP goes off and everything goes down, I still have the working knowledge in those books that I can help myself, right? So yeah, just make sure you've got some basic to survive information in hard copy within your home somewhere, just in case. Wouldn't it be so much better to devote your precious time to knowledge that will protect you and your family? Oh, sorry. With video revolution, used hardback books are ubiquitous and cheap. As previously stated, I maintain my prepping library is in hardback form. Right. I remember I used to have to save and scrimp and save until I could finally have enough money to buy the hard copy cover of whatever book I was really wanting to buy, because it cost you so much more because it's a hard copy edition. Um, Nowadays so few books are being bought that you can find a lot of really great hard copy books marked down, um, or even, basically free in thrift shops and stuff. In comparison, it's amazing. Um, so yeah, just it's good to have that sort of information. I've got notes that I've taken in notebooks about what the exact measurements are of what ingredients in order to make the because um I'm always dehydrated. That's the term I was looking for. And so on the daily I am taking rehydration um tablets and stuff. Um but I know if the shit hits the fan, I'm not going to be able to buy those from the grocery store anymore because the grocery store won't be there. So I've got written in one of my notebooks, I've got um, the the formula to make those for myself. Um, I did try making them myself, but honestly, if I can buy the ones from the store, I will because they taste better. So but I have the ability to make them for myself if need be, you know? Um, think about that. If you're on medications that you need to take on the daily, figure out what you're gonna do if you can't. Lexi, yeah, if everything goes down from an EMP, nice knowing you. Pacemaker. Oh, you've got a pacemaker. Okay. Now, in this day and age, is there a way to have like electrolyte coffee? Oh my gosh. Is that not kind of um not anticlimactic, but aren't they negating each other? The coffee that dehydrates you. Or maybe it's just taking your coffee to a net zero. That would be good either way. I'll try to remember to look for some of that just for the curiosity's sake. So as I previously stated, I maintain my prepping library in hardback form. In a cataclysmic event, aka Teotwaki, I have no idea what Teotwaki is. I call it the shit hitting fan. It's low acidity, so not as strong of a diuretic. Electrolyte coffee. The end of the world as we know. Oh, okay. See, I'm sure I had seen that written somewhere in my past, but I could not for the life of me figure out what that was. The end of the world as we know it. Okay. I call it the shit hitting the fan. But I like yours. Yeah. It's nicer. The easy to access nature of a hardback book will be invaluable. These items are not entertainment, but informational survival tools. Thus, you can justly allocate a portion of your budget to acquire a decent library. One of my favorite websites for acquiring used books is abebooks.com. Okay. It's an excellent network of used bookstores, often mom and pop operations. I have found that they often undercut Amazon's used book prices by a factor of 10. Okay. Copy and paste. Um, There you go. Um, and I like that it's often mom and pop operations. I love our old bookstores. I've gotten I've got so many Zane Grey books, paperbacks, but I mean, Zane Grey, wonderful, wonderful Western books. I believe they are BC. The author is BC born. Um, but I find so many of them in the local used stores. It's really great, and I've got nearly everything Heinlein ever wrote. Um, and what else? Anne McCaffrey's. Yeah, I've got a really nice collection started from the used bookstores and from the take a book, leave a books. There's those take a book, leave a book bookshelves all over the place. Um, Dragon Riders of Pern. Yes, yes. In fact, I may even have that. Might be one of the hardbacks, the few hardbacks that I've got. Um, yeah, my mom made sure that I read, and I read everything she read. Um, and eventually I inherited most of it because she and my stepdad live in um, a mobile home, I guess. Well, a fifth wheel, a large one, but still, she can't have her books anymore, so I've got them. I was kind of thinking of reading The Man from Mars next, just as another change it up. His books had so much underlying messaging, Heinlein did, which I'd never picked up on as a kid reading the books. It was just about the sci-fi and the coolness, and you know, um, but there's so much underlying testimony on world and world events. I think the Man from Mars would be a good one, not least because, of course, Elon is using Grok as his AI, which I find so eerily, creepily accurate. Um, I know that Elon and I both grew up reading Heinlein, like devouring Heinlein books. I know this for a fact. But yeah, the fact that he named his AI Grok, it might be interesting to introduce people to the um, where the term originated. Oh no, sadly, Abe Books was bought by Amazon, but you can still find better deals over there. Okay, that's great. And yeah, go check out the used bookstores and the take a book, leave a book stations, usually at like uh churches or food banks, those sort of places, discount stores, thrift stores, will have those little areas too. It's amazing. And yeah, books are so cheap now because no one wants them. It's lovely. At about 8 months from the mass media free journey, I hardly missed it. Rather than staring at a lighted box in an antisocial stupor, our family spent more quality time together. We had more reading time, which we did together as a family. As you can see by my contribution here, I have more time to pursue productive projects such as writing. I would encourage you to break the mass media addiction. You have a choice. You really do. Life hacks. I recently discovered Rumble and live streaming to support my book sales. My Rumble channel inspired several thoughts, including a recurring segment called Life Hacks. My first life hack involved conquering big projects. As many of you know, my real job is appellate work. I like to describe it as taking big piles of paper and making little piles of paper. The largest file of my career, the Ray Greenlaw case, contained over 12,000 pages. Because of its complexity, I read through that file twice before filing my initial brief. Now, yes. That's why, even though I'm reading from the later edition, having the first edition means I can still share the pictures. There you go. So, can you see that ginormous pile that he's leaning on? That would be that file. That's amazing, having to read through every single page of that. Once even. It's huge. Because of its complexity, Steve read through that file twice before filing the initial brief. Somewhere that monster brief is available online, but how to tackle such a project? The key is setting one small, easily attainable goal for yourself daily. For example, in appeals, I would say to myself, I'm going to read the opening statements. If I do that, I have accomplished my goal. When I read the opening statements and the first witness testimony, hooray, a victory. The goal will be achieved by gradually breaking up a big project into smaller component pieces, and over time by applying focus and work. Um, that's one of the little life hacks that I found dealing with my health issues. Um, Fibro's the one that really affects me most on the day to day, I guess. I mean, the others do too, but it's for me, fibro's the one that's hardest to live with on a day to day. One of the great things I learned was that I don't have to do everything. I used to power through and just get everything done and go, 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 go until it was all done. And then my body would just like shut down and say, screw you, and not allow me to do anything for days and days of recovering from just doing a job. Something like my bedroom needs to be moved around in the spring and in the fall because the bed for the window and the floorboard heater in the differing things. But either which way, if I used to try and just tackle it and go, 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 go until it was all done, and then I'd be hooped for days. I've learned that it'll take me all day long to do it. But if I just do it a bit at a time and make sure I take my breaks in between time to sit and rest before I get up and do the next small part of that whole task, I'm able to get it done. It takes me a heck of a lot longer to get things done than it used to, but I'm able to get things done and still wake up and be able to do stuff the next day. Powering through and just powering through until it's all done does not work with fibromyalgia. It doesn't. You can't. So yeah, I can still get all my stuff done, but it was really a thing about budgeting my time and making sure I allowed myself the breaks that I needed in between doing portions of these tasks. So yeah, taking a ginormous job or task and breaking it down into manageable bites definitely helps a lot with keeping you productive. It keeps you from sitting in the, my God, there's so much to do. I just don't know what to do. And you end up doing nothing at all. Breaking it down into smaller sections makes things a lot easier. So he says, this is a funny story. One of my clients recently complained to my supervisor about his case. He claimed that there was no way that I could have read his 800-page file in 3 days, thus concluding that I had not read it at all. I had actually read it and wrote his brief in 1 day, but sat on the brief for 2 additional days to ponder the facts and law before filing. I secretly wished he would file a claim so I could brag like I'm doing here. Another life hack on Rumble discusses conquering procrastination and laziness. Here's the technique. Stand outside yourself and think about the project that needs doing. Develop a written strategy to instruct another person if you want that task done. Submit the orders to your imaginary servant. Next, move over to the servant role and follow the plan. So again, yeah, taking the large project and breaking it down into bite-sized, manageable pieces. Your time is precious. As I age, my ability to operate at peak efficiency diminishes. At age 54, my best hours of every day for many months were devoted to writing this book. I have found that the hours available for deep concentration shorten over time. More rest is needed, and this is the best I can do. Since becoming involved in the internet streaming community, some people have suggested that various personalities, namely Andrew Bronca, should be shunned. Why? They're mean. They say things that I find offensive. I'm going to devote my time to shutting them up. I like Bronca. He's blunt. He's very, very blunt, and he has got his convictions and he will hold to them. I really like him. Yeah, I like him. I even like No Tie Bronca. He's a lot of fun. He's a little bit more brash and a little bit sometimes overbearing, or in the No Tie Bronca bit. But I mean, that's everyone, right? I really enjoy him. And why devote time to shutting them up? Why don't you just go devote your time to something that you do like? Who cares if he says something offensive? Just click the channel. But I will share with you that Andrew has a beautiful wife and family and works very hard for them by providing entertainment and educational content for those who want to listen. There you go. If you don't want to listen, just go away. If someone whom you've been close to falls very low, perhaps it's better to remain steadfast in your faith, so that when they hit bottom, someone other than someone evil is there to hold their hand back to light. Patience is a virtue, but one of my faults is that I quickly lose patience with those who wish to waste my time. Don't waste your time on destructive things. Find worthy goals. Use your time for good and build. The needs are so great in the world for your strength and wisdom. Devote it to making the world better. Yeah, you say? Like what? Let me tell you about the Don Bosco mission in the Philippines. The Salesian order, which works in youth education and technical training, their missions support youths needing special care and protection in fields and spaces where the young thrive and live. Before she married me, my wife volunteered for this wonderful cause. She did not have money to give, but she did have her time and love. She would attend Mass with the street children and give them letters of love and support. Her volunteer friends would treat the kids to a movie night where those orphans could forget their troubles and be happy spending time in a safe space away from the hard Manila streets. The kids could leave at any time, and some did. But if they stayed, the mission would house them, feed them, and train them to become productive adults. Many homeless children were saved through this beautiful project. Our local food kitchen is Halifax Urban Ministries. My family took up our church volunteer rotation at their downtown facility for several years. Serving the homeless reminded us to be humble and to give our lives in service to others. You have a homeless kitchen in your community, guaranteed. Try volunteering. The precious value of time reminds me of joke number 27 in our family. Goes like this. A man walks into a bar, followed by a small pot-bellied pig on a leash. He sits at the bar, slaps down a $20 bill, and points to the bartender. I'll bet you this $20 against a free drink that I can make that pig stand up on its hind legs and dance in a circle. The bartender looks at the man and his pig. Well, people always ask for free drinks, but you know what? I've never seen a pig do that. I think I will take that bet. The man smiles in victory, turns to the pig, and claps his hands. The pig stands up on its hind legs, makes a full 360-degree circle, hops twice, and plops back down on all fours at the end. Filling the free drink for the patron, the bartender asks in amazement, "Man, that must have taken you years to get the pig to do that." The man responds, "Well, it's taken me 8 years of training, with each week filled with hours and hours of rewards and punishments." The bartender looks on in wonder. "But why would you spend so much time training a pig to do such a thing?" And the man replies, "What's time to a pig?" Okay, I get you. Here's another tip: do more things that make you happy and less of the things that make you unhappy. It sounds obvious, but consider it before dismissing it. As stated earlier, there is a reason that older people are generally happier with their lives. Do you want to know the key to a happy life? Make today the best day that you can. Just today. Can you try to accomplish that? If you can make today happy and fulfilling, can you extend this to tomorrow? And if so, here's your key to a happy life. Great day plus great day plus great day plus etc. equals a series of happy days resulting in a happy life. Think of the converse. Many people, you leave her alone. Sorry, she's about to wake up her sleeping sister Boo. I can tell it. No, you leave her alone. But exactly, think of the converse. Many folks live every day in misery and negativity. They pile up one miserable day after another. If only I made more money, or if only I had that mate, if only I had that ultimate job, then I would be happy. In the meantime, though, they remain miserable. They have figured out the key to an unhappy life. An unhappy day plus an unhappy day plus an unhappy day, etc., equals an unhappy life in the making. Address this now and find the path that steers you away from misery and towards fulfillment. You keep going, keep going. Yes, thank you. Oh, and then she got attacked by the tinfoil hat. Serves her right. That's what I was saying. I don't know where or what finally helped me to make that switch. Um, but Monty Python's song, always look on the bright side of life. Um, you can focus on all the little annoying, irritable things that happen to you throughout the day, every day, and then just let them build and build and build and build and build and build, and then you're miserable, and then your day's been awful, and then your week's been awful, and oh my gosh, this whole month has sucked. You could do that, or you could do the same thing, only you're paying attention to all the little good things that happen. You know, oh, I woke up and the cats didn't puke fur balls over the night, so I don't have to be scrubbing little mats that are all over the house, cleaning up little puddles of puke because it's springtime and they're shedding. That's a nice thing when I wake up and I only find one of those that I have to clean up. Lovely. It's a great thing. Um, little things like, a good cup of coffee, or waking up and getting to watch one of my favorite people on TV first thing in the morning. Um, you know, good things. I was able to have a really great lunch. The vegetables were especially tasty today. Just look at the little good things. The house is so clean that I really don't need to do too much for preparation day on Friday. That's great. Um, it's amazing how much easier it is to be generally happy if you're focusing on the right stuff. So no matter how bad a situation is, if you look hard enough, you will find a bright side. You may not be able to find it right away. Took me many, many years. I married a man at 30. And I think we were together 3 years, 3 or 4 years. It was not good. It really wasn't. And he left, and I ended up getting stuck with a bill that is constantly daily earning interest on a bill that I will never be able to afford to pay off because you're not legally allowed to work. And so instead of working under the table like everyone else does, he just didn't work and he accepted welfare benefits. But I have to pay those welfare benefits back. But because I'm on disability, you see where the problem is? So that bill just sits there. And once every few years, they'll send me, the latest up to date. This is what you owe us now. But they're never going to send anyone after me for it because they know that I'm on disability and I'm never going to be able to pay it. So if I started, working and earning a living and not needing disability, that would be another thing. But for all of that, if I hadn't married him, I don't think I would have ever gotten off hard drugs. I don't think I would have, it wouldn't have happened. I would have relied on them too much to get me functioning through the day. And it would have ended up with me either being a homeless addict myself or an OD, something like that, if I hadn't met and married him. Because if it weren't for him, I would not have, there wouldn't have been any reason to clean up. So for the bad things that happened in that marriage, and for the fact that, I am divorced and, I've got a huge bill that I owe to the government that I'm never going to be able to pay. Sure, I could focus on that and all the bad things that happened in there, or I can focus on the fact that without him, I wouldn't have ever gotten sober. I wouldn't have been able to get here if I hadn't married him. So, there's a good in everything. Even if you can't see it in the moment, there is a good side to everything. You just got to look. And you just got to be willing to see it when it's shown to you. Oh, thank you, Steve. He says, we're so blessed to have diggers today, have today's digger. Yes, I know. And I wouldn't exist if it weren't for him. So, even a really bad situation that you're going through or that you've gone through recently, you may not see why now, but at some point you'll be able to look back and go, if I hadn't learned that lesson there, I wouldn't be able to handle this problem now here. So a failure is just another chance to learn. So address this now and find the path that steers you away from misery towards fulfillment. Recently, the Megyn Kelly Show contacted me to come on their show to comment on Alex Murdaugh double murder trial. Oh shoot. Oh, as a total aside, they're doing a either a movie or a TV series. Who is playing this is Murdaugh. There we go. Yes, Patricia Arquette. Patricia Arquette has been tapped. She will be playing Maggie Murdaugh, the wife of Alex. So Jason Clark has been chosen to play Alex Murdaugh. It's the Murdaugh Murders Hulu TV show. So Patricia Arquette will be playing Maggie. So just as a weird aside, they're going to make a TV series about that thing, and they've got some decent large names. Oh, geez Louise. I'm just going to click on that while I can. Bill Pullman is Alex Murdaugh. Then it says Lauren K. Oh, only 2 episodes. Okay, that might be a separate one. Either which way, yes, they are doing something, and Patricia Arquette will be playing Maggie. So I got kind of a tee out of that. That's not the sort of character that I would ever picture Patricia Arquette, you know. But they did. They made her look just like frumpy Maggie. It's pretty interesting. So there you go. So asked on the Megyn Kelly show, they were super nice and guided me through the green room and all my audio and lighting settings. Vinny from Court TV joined me, and we jousted about the case. My first appearance went so well that Megyn invited me back for the next week. I dressed up again and gave my best in the allotted short format. I got in a few points over the 40 minutes I was on. After the show concluded, their sweet producer raved and asked me to do it again next week. I had to turn them down. My skill set is better suited to long-form analysis, and the short form stresses me out. Plus, they did not promote my book. How dare they? Ultimately, we are our own masters. Our time is precious. Self-knowledge is important. Have the confidence to make the right choices for you. And there we go. That is just about bang on 2 hours. Lovely, lovely. Yeah, I will look into, there's a few different options for the next book. Thank you, Steve. Thanks for writing this. I really appreciate it. I'll figure out which book I'll do next, because I know we are nearing, we're almost at the last of it. We're on page 79, 179 of 264. So this is the point where I need to decide what we're going to read next. I need to look into, like I said, I would love to read A Man from Mars. But I don't know if the Heinlein estate would allow it. So I was kind of looking at their estate. I didn't see a whole lot. So I've got to like do a contact you. Can I, I really need to ask permission to, but either which way, we'll see about that. If I don't hear anything from them, then I'll just do it and, ask forgiveness. If I can't ask for permission, then I'll just risk needing to ask for forgiveness later, I guess. Yeah. But there's also C.S. Lewis novels that have been mentioned and a few other books. So there will be something next. I'm just not sure what it is yet. We've hit the 2-hour mark, which is perfect. That's the end of the reading stream today. I will be heading over to hang out with Johnny and chats on Just Kidding LLC. And then more to the point, it's 3 hours from right now, in 3 hours, I will be chatting with chat. So that's where we just hang out and I talk with the people in chat about whatever we end up talking about. There's no set topics. Last week, we had a really good religious discussion, actually. I can't quite remember how we veered onto it. But we ended up talking about what constitutes faith and being saved. It was more how are you saved? Is it through faith or through acts or through, and the conversation ensued. So 3 hours from now, we will be doing it again. May not be a biblical topic, doesn't have to be. It's just whatever comes up in conversation. So thank you so much. And I will, I'll see you again. Bye.
Topics change from day to day. Science, art, or history's play. No path to choice, no drill too thin. She dives right in where to begin. Ask her anything, nothing's too obscure. She'll still digging, dig a spirit so pure. From ancient lore to future dreams, every question finds its gleam.